Unit 7, Registration. Some students are registering for evening courses at the Adult Education Center. Listen to the conversations.
Good evening. I'd like to register for a course.
All right, then. Take this form, fill it out.
I'm sorry. Could you speak a little slower, please?
Oh, sure. Fill out this form and bring it back to me. Would you like to register too?
He doesn't speak much English.
Could you help him?
Sure.
Excuse me, I don't understand this. Date of birth.
When were you born? When's your birthday?
June 30th,
What year?
19. And one more thing. What does spouse mean?
Spouse means husband or wife.
Oh, I see. Excuse me, my pen's out of ink. Could I use your pencil?
Oh, sure.
What's today's date?
It's the 13th. September 13th.
Do you speak Spanish?
A little.
How do you say abogado in English?
Lawyer. L-A-W-Y-E-R. Are you Spanish?
No, I'm Mexican.
Now listen to the conversations again and repeat each line.
Good evening. I'd like to register for a course.
All right, then. Take this form, fill it out.
I'm sorry. Could you speak a little slower, please?
Oh, sure. Fill out this form and bring it back to me. Would you like to register too?
He doesn't speak much English.
Could you help him?
Sure.
Excuse me, I don't understand this. Date of birth.
When were you born? When's your birthday?
June 30th.
What year?
19. And one more thing. What does spouse mean?
Spouse means husband or wife.
Oh, I see. Excuse me, my pen's out of ink. Could I use your pencil?
Oh, sure.
What's today's date?
It's the 13th. September 13th.
Do you speak Spanish?
A little.
How do you say abogado in English?
Lawyer. L-A-W-Y-E-R. Are you Spanish?
No, I'm Mexican.
Hello folks, how are you doing? Well, it's good to see you again for a new lesson and a new topic to present. Today is September 24, 2017. The new topic of our lesson today is about registration. Oh, well, you know, registration means recording names and details on an official list, right? That is registration. And we want to talk about some places, some centers called adult education centers. People who are grown up go to these places to learn different things, whether new languages or some new professions, skills, and things like that. You've already listened to the conversations for the first time. Now, before listening to it for the second time, let us go over it and see if there are new words and expressions to talk about. Alright, so in part A, on the second line, the registration worker says, take this form, fill it out. Fill it out means complete it. To fill out means to complete a form or things like that. Then in part A, I don't see any other new word. Of course, in the last part, someone, in fact Maria, says sure. Sure here means of course or certainly. In part B, well, there is no new word. Only in the last part, the Korean student says, oh, I see. I see means I understand. Here, see means understand. In part C, an American student says, excuse me, my pen's out of ink. Means the ink in my pen is finished. Yeah, nothing is left. It is used up. None is left. And in part D, there's a dialogue between a Mexican student and an American student. They talk about speaking Spanish and a word in Spanish, and the meaning of that word, lawyer. Of course, lawyer is someone who advises people about law or represents people in court. Well, that's about it. We don't have any other word. Of course, there are some words like espouse, explained. You know, we have the meaning of that in the conversation. So now we listen to the conversation one more time as a reinforcement, and then we repeat each line after the speakers, which is also very important.
Unit 7, Registration. Some students are registering for evening courses at the Adult Education Center. Listen to the conversations.
Good evening. I'd like to register for a course.
All right, then. Take this form, fill it out.
I'm sorry. Could you speak a little slower, please?
Oh, sure. Fill out this form and bring it back to me. Would you like to register too?
He doesn't speak much English.
Could you help him?
Sure.
Excuse me, I don't understand this. Date of birth.
When were you born? When's your birthday?
June 30th,
What year?
19. And one more thing. What does spouse mean?
Spouse means husband or wife.
Oh, I see. Excuse me, my pen's out of ink. Could I use your pencil?
Oh, sure.
What's today's date?
It's the 13th, September 13th.
Do you speak Spanish?
A little.
How do you say abogado in English?
Lawyer. Lawyer. Are you Spanish?
No, I'm Mexican.
Now listen to the conversations again and repeat each line.
Good evening. I'd like to register for a course.
All right then. Take this form, fill it out.
I'm sorry. Could you speak a little slower, please?
Oh, sure. Fill out this form and bring it back to me. Would you like to register too?
He doesn't speak much English.
Could you help him?
Sure.
Excuse me, I don't understand this. Date of birth.
When were you born? When's your birthday?
June 30th.
What year?
19... And one more thing. What does spouse mean?
Spouse means husband or wife.
Oh, I see.
Excuse me, my pen's out of ink. Could I use your pencil?
Oh, sure.
What's today's date?
It's the 13th. September 13th.
Do you speak Spanish?
A little.
How do you say abogado in English?
Lawyer. L-A-W-Y-E-R. Are you Spanish?
No, I'm Mexican.
Okay, now it's time to think about the exercises. After these conversations. We have figure it out exercise. You're all familiar with this exercise. Choose A or B here. And number 2, we have matching task. We have to match 2 parts. Part the one on the left side to the one on the right side. Okay, think about it for a while. I'll be back and we'll check them together. Okay, so let's begin. Figure it out. Part 1, choose A or B. The first question, when's your birthday? There are 2 answers. Part A, 1983. Part B, June 30th. Here, B is correct, but I want to ask you, why should we choose B? What's wrong with A? Do you have any opinion? Yeah, the point is, when we talk about birthday, we talk about the day and the month. Year may not be so important. We want to know exactly on which day and in which month the person was born. Right? Number 2, could I use your pen? 2 answers. It's out of ink. Yes, I could. What do you think? Sure, it's out of ink is correct, because yes, I could is meaningless here, because the person says, could I use your pen? So in fact, part B should have been, yes, you could, not I could. It's meaningless. So A is correct. Number 3, do you speak Spanish? 2 answers. Yes, a little, or no, I'm Mexican. What do you think? A is correct. Yes, a little. Right. Number 4, what does date of birth mean? 2 answers. Where you were born, when you were born. Surely B is correct, because it's about date of birth, not place of birth. For place of birth, we say where you were born, but for date of birth, when you were born. So B is correct. Number 5, how do you say abogado in English? Of course, in part D, we had the answer, lawyer, right? But the point is whether we should choose A or B, which is the spelling of the word. In fact, we were not asked to spell the word. We were asked to say the word, and that's why A is correct. Number 6, when's your date of birth? There are 2 answers. June 30th, June 30, 1983. Which one do you think is correct? Of course, B is correct, because its date of birth should be complete. Yeah, it requires complete information. June 30th is not enough. So B is correct. Exercise 2, match. Number 1, occupation, lawyer, is matched for us. Number 2, address. What is the correct answer, you think? Part E, 221 Pomona Avenue. Yeah, this is the address. Number 3, year. What is the answer? Which part? Part B, 1983. Number 4, place of birth. Part A, Denver, Colorado. Number 5, nationality. Korean. Part F. Number 6, sex. Part C, female. Right? F stands for female. Number 7, marital status. Part H, single. Number 8, date. Part D, December 12, 2014. Okay, now let's get ready to see what our comprehension dialogue has for us. Okay guys, now we can see John Pierce, who's a tenant, and he rented an apartment from Mrs. Baxter. Mrs. Baxter is the landlady. Yeah, she owns the apartment. Well, he is relaxing in his apartment, but he is interrupted. His relaxation cannot apparently continue for a long time. Let's see what happens.
Take my advice. John Pierce is watching TV one evening after taking a shower when Mrs. Baxter knocks at his door. 1. Comprehension dialogue. Listen to the conversation.
You got the key.
What a way to spend.
Who is it?
It's Mrs. Baxter.
Mrs. Baxter? Mrs. Baxter, how are you this evening?
Good evening, Mr. Pierce. I'm sorry to bother you.
That's okay. I was just watching television. Come in. Sit down. Would you like some tea or coffee?
Oh, no. Please don't bother. I only have a few minutes. Mr. Pierce, it's the 4th of December.
The 4th of... Oh, Mrs. Baxter, the rent. I'm sorry it's late. I'll write you a check right now. Do you have a pen I could use?
Yes, I do. Here you are. Is that your girlfriend?
My girlfriend? Oh, you mean in the picture? No, that's my sister.
She's very pretty. Is she married?
Yes, married with 2 children, a boy and a girl.
Oh, how wonderful.
Do you have any children, Mrs. Baxter?
Mr. Pierce, I have 6 grandchildren.
Oh, really? Here you are, Mrs. Baxter.
Thank you. By the way, are you still a reporter at the Brooklyn Record?
No, I'm working at the Brooklyn Heights Press now.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No, not really.
What? A handsome man like you with a good job? Take my advice. Find yourself a girlfriend, get married, and have children.
Oh, there's the phone. Excuse me for just one moment, Mrs. Baxter.
All right. It's time now to answer the figure it out exercise. Number 1, John's rent check is late. It says right. How do we know it is right? In part 1, when John says the 4th of Mrs. Baxter, the rent, I'm sorry, it's late. Yeah, all right. Number 2, John has a girlfriend. What do you think? Yeah, it is wrong, of course, because Mrs. Baxter says in part 2, do you have a girlfriend? John says no, not really. Number 3, John's sister is married. So, what do you say? It is right. Yeah? In part 2, Mrs. Baxter says she's very pretty. Is she married? And John says yes, married with 2 children. Number 4, Mrs. Baxter has 3 children. The point is that we don't know how many. Yeah, we know that she has even grandchildren, but we don't know how many children. Number 5, John is an accountant. What do you think? Yeah, of course it is wrong because John is a reporter. In the second part of the conversation, we see it. Mrs. Baxter says, by the way, are you still a reporter at Brooklyn Record? Yeah, so he's a reporter. He changed his workplace, but his job is the same job as a reporter. Number 6, Mrs. Baxter asks a lot of questions. Normally, it is right, because she really asks a lot of questions. All right.
Page 55. 3. Listen in. John forgets he's supposed to meet his friend Gloria. Read the statements below. Then listen to the conversation and fill in the missing words.
Hello?
Hello, John. This is Gloria. Where are you?
I'm at home. What do you mean?
John, it's Friday night, December 4th.
Oh, no, your birthday. Is everyone at the restaurant?
Yes. We're at the House of China at 352 11th Avenue near 23rd Street.
Hey, slow down.
352 11th Avenue near 23rd Street.
I'll be right there. And, happy birthday, Gloria.
Now fill in the missing words.
Right, now let's fill in the missing words. Number 1, the House of China is at 352 what avenue? Can you say that? 11th Avenue. That's right. Number 2, Gloria's birthday is when? When is it? December 4th. All right.
4. Say it right. Say the phrase below, then practice the conversation. First, listen to and repeat this phrase. Could you? Now listen to the conversation. Your name, please?
Gloria Schaefer.
Could you speak a little slower, please?
Gloria Schaefer.
Could you spell your last name, please?
S-C-H-A-E-F-E-R.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
S-C-H-A-E-F-E-R.
Now listen to the conversation again and repeat each line. Your name, please?
Gloria Schaefer.
Could you speak a little slower, please?
Gloria Schaefer.
Could you spell your last name, please?
S-C-H-A-E-F-E-R.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
S-C-H-A-E-F-E-R.
Okay, it's now time for your turn exercise. We have to fill in the blanks and complete the conversation. It says, Victoria Diego is interviewed on television. Act out the conversation. Use this information. Victoria Diego is single. She was born in Mexico. The Spanish word encantado means it's nice to meet you. She lives in California now. She speaks Spanish. So this is the piece of information we need to complete this conversation. Alright? So let's think about it and then we'll do it together. Okay, now let's see. The interviewer says, now we are going to meet Victoria Diego. Let's see. Is that Miss or Mrs. Diego? Victoria says, Miss Diego. Interviewer says, Victoria Diego. That's a Spanish name. Where are you from? This is what we write in the blank. Victoria says, well, I was born in Mexico, but I live in California now. The interviewer says, do you speak Spanish? Victoria says, yes, I do. The interviewer says, how do you say it's nice to meet you in Spanish? Victoria says, encantado. Interviewer says, encantado, Miss Diego, it's nice to meet you. Victoria says, it's nice to meet you too. Right? So this is how we complete this conversation, by using our imagination and the information that we have had until now. Okay, now it's time to take a look at some grammar points. As you can see in the frame, we have some simple present tense sentences, negative statements. So let's see what they are. I don't understand French. We don't understand French. They don't understand French. He doesn't understand French. She doesn't understand French. So the main verb of these sentences is understand, and in order to make these sentences negative, we need don't and doesn't. The auxiliary verb do helps us have negative sentences, right? We simply put don't or doesn't before the main verb in the sentence, and we simply have negative statement. As you know, don't and doesn't are different forms of the verb do. Do at the same time can play the role of main verb too, but also can play the role of auxiliary verb, right? So it's very easy, and as easy as we see. Let's use another verb instead of understand, right? Imagine we have the verb play, right? So we say I play football as an affirmative sentence. Then in negative form we say I don't play football. Or imagine the verb work, yeah? I work on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. Or he doesn't work on Saturdays and Sundays. Or in the same way, she doesn't work on Saturday and Sundays. Simply, this is the way we have negative form in simple present tense. That's all. Now we have exercise 1, 2, and 3. All of these 3 exercises are connected with this grammar point. Yeah, simple present, negative statements. Let's see how we answer them. Okay, now let's have our reading comprehension task, alright, on your own, which means it's up to you and you should concentrate and think about it. Here we have a note written by Carolyn, and we have also her rent check. It says Carolyn writes this note to Mrs. Baxter. So we have a date on the top, on the right corner. Then she writes, Dear Mrs. Baxter, here is my rent check for December. I'm sorry that it's a little late this month. I was out of town for a few days. There's something that I'd like to show you when you have time. The radiator in the living room makes a lot of noise. It leaks a little too. Could you or Mr. Baxter come to look at it? I'll be home all day Saturday. Sincerely, Caroline Duval. Right? So this is the note we have. Now, based on the information here, we have to answer this exercise. We have to say right, wrong, or I don't know. Number 1 says Caroline's rent check is late. It is right. How do we know it is right? Because she mentions it. She writes, I'm sorry that it's a little late this month. Number 2, Caroline was out of town for a few weeks. What do you think? Right or wrong, or I don't know? The answer is wrong because it was just a few days, not a few weeks. As she writes, I was out of town for a few days in the first paragraph. Number 3, Mrs. Baxter called Caroline and asked her for the rent check. What do you think? The answer is I don't know. Nothing is mentioned about this. Number 4, Caroline's telephone number is on the check. What do you think? Yeah, it is wrong because there is no telephone number on the check. Number 5, Caroline's address is on the check. What do you say? Sure, the answer is right because it's on the top left side of the check. It's written Caroline Duval, 3 Willow Street, apartment 2B, Brooklyn, New York 11201. Number 6. Carolyn is going to visit a friend on Saturday. So, what do you think? The answer is wrong because she wrote, I'll be home all day Saturday. All right.
Lesson 43. Tips for Success on the Telephone. Page A76. Here is an article by Amelia Peretti about tips for success on the telephone. Listen as you read the article.
Tips for Success on the Telephone by Amelia Peretti. You arrive at the airport in another country, but your luggage does not arrive with you. When the airport staff cannot find it, you go unhappily to your hotel room. Now you have to use the telephone for help. Will someone at the airline help you quickly? Yes, if you are friendly and polite. Good manners are the key to success on the telephone. Here are a few suggestions. Speak slowly and pronounce your words clearly. You want the other person to understand you. Speak with a smile. People like to hear a pleasant voice. Always identify yourself right away. For example, if you make a business call, start with, "Hello, this is Bob Blair. May I speak to Carmen Rivera, please?" For an informal or personal call, you say, "Hi, this is Koji. Is Grace there, please?" Be sure to leave a complete message. You can say, "Please ask Ms. Rivera to call me at 555-6821 about our meeting tomorrow." Or, "Please ask Grace to give me a call about the party on Saturday." Finally, always thank the person you speak with. After all, he or she took the time to talk to you. Be sure to use the person's name if you know it. Say, "Thank you very much for your help, Ms. Rivera," or "Thanks a lot, Grace." These are just a few telephone tips. Try them in your next phone call and watch what happens.
Alright folks, after reading and listening to this reading comprehension text and also listening practice, we try to answer the following exercise. Alright? It's up to you and on your own. Hello again. I've decided to add some extra exercises to improve our understanding and also to improve our listening ability. These are all the chosen listening materials that I have added to our lesson. Okay, let's listen in and let's test ourselves.
Unit 7, Exercise 1. Listen to the conversations. Then answer each question with "Yes, he does," or "No, he doesn't." 1.
Do you speak Japanese?
No, I don't.
2.
Fill out this form and bring it back to me.
Okay, sure.
3.
What does occupation mean?
It means your work or your job. What you do.
I don't understand.
4.
Would you like to register too?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
He doesn't speak much English.
5.
When were you born?
Excuse me?
When's your birthday?
Could you speak a little slower, please?
6.
Single means that you aren't married.
Oh, I see.
7.
Do you speak Arabic?
Yes, I do.
How do you say June in Arabic?
Yunya.
8.
Would you like to register for a course?
Yes, I'd like a course in English.
9.
I'm sorry, I don't speak much English. Can you help me?
Sure.
10.
Excuse me, could I use your pen?
I'm sorry. I only have a pencil.
Exercise 2. Listen to the conversation. Then write the information on the form. Ito Tanaka wants to get an international driver's license.
What's your name?
Could you speak a little slower, please?
Sure. What's your name?
Ito Tanaka. I-T-O-T-A-N-A-K-A.
Your address?
213 6th Street, Denver, Colorado. The zip code is 80906.
Telephone?
865-9037.
Date of birth?
What does that mean?
When were you born?
Oh, June 23rd,
Where are you from?
Japan.
Exercise 7. Complete the conversations. Choose A, B, or C. 1.
What does this mean, date of birth?
When were you born?
2.
What's your marital status?
Could you speak a little slower, please?
3.
She doesn't speak much English.
Could you help her?
4.
Do you speak French?
Yes, I do.
Are you from France?
5.
What's today's date?
6.
Does he speak much English?
No, he doesn't.
7.
Is your birthday in May or in June?
8.
Could I use your pencil?
9.
How do you say, how are you, in Portuguese?
10.
Where's he from?
Algeria.
Does he speak French and Arabic?
Exercise 8. Write the last word you hear in each conversation. 1.
Who's that?
That's my lawyer, Mrs. Rose. Would you like to meet her?
2.
Are your parents here?
Yes, but I don't see them.
3.
Do you speak Spanish?
I don't speak it, but I understand it.
4.
My friend doesn't speak much English. Could you help her?
5.
Hello? Is your father there?
No, he isn't. Would you like to leave a message for him?
6.
Take this form, fill it out, and bring it back to me.
7.
When was he born?
I don't know, but I can ask him.
8.
Does she speak Chinese to you?
Yes, but I don't understand her.
It's been very nice being with you, working with you and talking to you. Until next time that we meet again, I wish you a very nice time. Goodbye.